So Patrick, it's such a great honor to be hosting a hair artist of your caliber. I would like to know, when did you begin and which was the difficulties at the time?
Well, I began my career way back in the 1980s, so for many years ago. One of the difficulties that I experienced when I started my career was that I'd come from school and I hadn't really had a great academic track record. So I didn't do very well at school, and I started working after school in a music shop. Then I got a job as a graphic artist doing display and so on for a big department store. And then I went to hairdressing. So one of my biggest challenges was learning the craft, learning the study, the theory. But what I discovered was that because I fell in love with hairdressing, the theory was very easy. So I went from being a very low achiever in my high school to a very high achiever in my trade. So I think that was probably one of the first obstacles I had to overcome, was my feeling of confidence, giving myself more confidence to know that I could do well.
You have performed countless shows and events worldwide. Which one was the most special for you?
Oh my gosh, there have been so many shows. Probably one of the most special shows was, if you could imagine, I was under a lot of pressure. My father had been had died, and things. I had to fly back to New Zealand from London very quickly, and I went to the funeral and the whole thing. Then I had to fly back to London, and then do 3 countries in the eastern part of Europe. I had to go 3 different countries. I had a tour booked. I got back to London and I had to do a very big show in Monaco. And this was for Weller's Tren Vision, which I was the host. And this was for countries all over the world, and I was asked to do a very special show for Monaco. And I did this show, and I remember all of the stress, all of the pressure, and when I got on stage, I just did this beautiful show. And I offered it up and said, "This is for you, Dad." And at the end of the show, I had a standing ovation. People were crying. The show was so beautiful, and I think that was one of the shows that's really stuck in my memory as being very special. The show was called Riviera, and it was in Monaco.
Please tell me about the most challenging professional dilemma you faced up through your career.
Well, the most challenging professional dilemma that I've had really happened in March 2020, the pandemic. That truly, I've had a lot of different things that have happened to me over the years, but I'm one of those people that always looks at a negative as a positive. So if something gets in my way, I think, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to just go in that direction instead of that direction. So for me in 2020, the COVID explosion was really the biggest thing, because all of a sudden, all of my work stopped, because I'm truly an international global hairdresser. I don't have a salon, I don't do clients. My clients are the countries that I go to. So for the last 2 years, really my career has all but stopped. So I had to take on the digital side, this huge, enormous side of digital education. And I'm proud to say, many months, a year and a half down the line, I now have a fantastic digital education program. I do webinars all over the world. Our Facebook, our Instagram, our Pinterest, our TikTok, all of the different social media platforms are healthy and looking brilliant. So I have really retrained myself on how to become a digital educator, and of course a Weller ambassador all over the world, but via the World Wide Web. I'm very proud of it, and it's been a huge obstacle that I've overcome, and that is doing really well.
I would like now to share a little secret of yours with us. Which is the source of your inspiration and influences behind your collections?
The biggest secret for me, when I'm working on a collection or I'm working on inspirations, what I have realized is we are not always creative every day. My biggest secret for getting a collection together is finding those days when you really feel inspired. You've seen something, you've felt something, you've heard something, And I use those days as productively as I can because the following day I may not feel as inspired. So what I do when I'm putting my collection together, my secret of putting a collection together is I have a book, I write things in, and when I've got an inspiration, I write an inspiration in, I draw a picture, I work on that, and then I put it away. And then I might bring that book out again another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later, and put something else in. So when I'm working on a collection, my secret is always take your time, work your way through, find a really good message that you want to have in your show, and then that becomes what you're going to be doing. So for me, that's the best way of putting a collection together, and it's worked for me beautifully for literally almost 30 years.
I would appreciate it if you could give a guiding advice to the young hairdressers beginning now their careers.
My advice to all young hair artists is learn, learn, learn. Please remember, fashion is a circle. It goes round and round. So what you don't need today, you may need tomorrow. If you're going to become a great hairdresser, you need to understand everything from roller placement and putting rollers in the hair, to finger waving, to cutting, to coloring. Right across the board, you need to understand it all. I think my true advice for anyone starting out is take your time. Learn your craft. Do not believe you are the best in the world as you start achieving success. Take time to look around and see what other people are doing. You know, I've been traveling the world and I've been a very successful hairdresser, global, for near on 30 years. I've been hairdressing for almost 40 years. And for me, I always wanted to be around for a long time. I didn't want to be just successful and then gone. So if you want longevity, meaning you want to be around for a long, long time, you need to understand all the aspects of hairdressing. So as a young hairdresser, please learn everything. And also, most importantly, develop your skills of communication. Learn how to talk. Make sure that you can get your message out there. Remember, there's only ever one of you, and I wish you all the success.